In this video, we will introduce you to mind mapping. A mind map is a visual representation of a concept or process. Mind mapping can be used for many academic tasks, including note-taking, writing a paper, brainstorming, and studying for exams. Mind maps are especially useful for self-testing, which is seeing how much can be remembered without looking at notes, textbooks, or other materials. Mind maps can also help us use our study time more effectively by showing us the gaps in our memory or understanding, which can help us focus our efforts. Sometimes, studying for a test or planning out a paper isn't very fun. It can even seem painful. Creating a map means that you can see where you are, where you've been, and where you need to go from here. So, what's a mind map, and how do we make one? A mind map begins with a central idea, which can be the prompt for your history paper, the title of a chapter you need to analyze, or a broader concept. Because mind mapping doesn't require that you use your notes, you can get started with just a pencil and paper. Or, if you prefer working digitally, a blank Word document or website, such as MindMap or Draw.io, that can make digital mind mapping even easier. We will be exploring these digital mind mapping technologies in our related video, Creating a Digital Mind Map. Now let's get back to making our map. Whatever format you do choose, don't worry about how your map will look to others. The only person it needs to make sense to is you. Start with a central concept, fact, or idea with a circle around it. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you see this concept? Write it down in another circle and draw a connecting line to your central idea. Keep on adding ideas, concepts, and pieces of information as they come to mind. You may start to notice that the thoughts you're generating connect to your main idea, or to other ideas elsewhere in your map. Get creative, and don't be afraid to use different colors, symbols, or images if they help trigger memory and understanding. Make sure to save your mind map by taking a picture or saving the file. Now let's take a look at how we might use mind mapping for assignments in different subjects. It can be hard to get past the blank page when you start writing a paper, and mind maps are one way to help us get started. They can help us brainstorm, outline our main points, and determine what arguments we want to make. Let's imagine that we are tasked with writing a paper on the Harry Potter book series. Our prompt might be something like, discuss how Harry grows as a character and the obstacles he must overcome to achieve his goals. We might start our mind map like this. This is a pretty broad question. To avoid feeling overwhelmed, let's break it down into smaller pieces. Now we can focus on each part of the prompt separately. This will help ensure that we respond to all parts of the prompt. From here, we can freely associate and start making connections. What comes to mind when we think about character growth? Is it physical growth, getting better at practicing magic, or the interpersonal growth that takes place as Harry spends time at Hogwarts? Why not all of them? From here, we can develop each of these new nodes into finer detail and work on associating freely. We may even find that some of the things that come to mind for one node of our map link up with others in different parts of the map. For example, when considering social growth, we might think of conflict resolution as part of how Harry grows as a character. Who are some of the people that Harry finds himself in conflict with? Right away, I think of Voldemort, Draco Malfoy, and Professor Snape. Do Snape, Draco, and Voldemort represent obstacles to Harry's success? Do his conflicts with these people get in the way of Harry achieving his goals? Now that we've seen how to use mind mapping while writing a paper, let's look at how a mind map can help you prepare for an exam. Using a mind map to study for an exam can help us find the gaps in our memory or understanding, which in turn helps us to target additional study efforts. This is Katie. Katie has an accounting exam coming up, and she isn't sure where to begin her studying process. So, she decides to start with a mind map. Katie knows that the exam will cover chapters 1 through 3 of her textbook, so she begins her mind map with this information. Next, she can break down each chapter into its component parts. From here, Katie can start to see what she remembers from each of these chapters and what she needs to spend more time reviewing. By using a mind map to self-test and see what she does and doesn't remember, she will be able to use her study time more efficiently and perform better on the exam. Here's an example of a mind map made by 2 USM nursing students. This is a great example of how mind mapping can be used to test understanding and make connections. These same principles can be applied to virtually any subject, from business and computer science to art history and English. Finally, mind mapping is a great way to begin brainstorming. Because mind maps don't have any strict rules or structure, you don't need to worry about how it will look once you are done. Remember, the only person your map needs to make sense to is you. Once you create your mind map, refer back to it often and add to it as needed. This will help you build upon your study efforts and reinforce important concepts. And that's that! You've now seen a brief introduction on how to use mind maps in your learning. To recap, mind mapping can be used to brainstorm, self-test, find gaps in memory or understanding, and connect ideas, facts, and concepts. It can help you outline a paper, make sure you're responding to all parts of a prompt, and show you how to use your study time more effectively. Now it's time to practice this strategy for yourself so you can become more familiar with learning with mind maps. And be sure to check out our related video, Creating a Digital Mind Map. For more information on academic support resources and strategies, visit us at usm.maine.edu/agile.